Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7. And Cerise is nerfed slash changed, however you want to look at it. I wasn't exactly surprised by this. In fact, I was kind of surprised that she came out the way she did to begin with, because her skill set was obviously extremely overloaded, and she was going to be a problem unit for sure. That said, I still think she's going to be, so let's talk about what her changes are and kind of see what they did and why they did it. So this is going to be different than the showcase they had again on YouTube. This is their safety net, so they don't have another Alencia problem. But what they did was change her Luminous Explosion, which is her skill 2, and they made it so it no longer decreases combat readiness by 30% on the target it hits. So this is honestly the ability I was more excited for than her skill 3. I feel like her skill 2 on a 3-turn cooldown, stunning 100% of the time, combat readiness increase, and combat readiness decrease was brutal. I think it was criminally underrated, and people were only really talking about her skill 3, and I honestly felt like the skill 2 was just bonkers the way it is. So I feel like something had to happen for that, and I'm glad they did it now rather than later. So this skill is still going to be fantastic. It's still going to be a stun and a 50% CR boost. It's just not going to lower their combat readiness by 30%. So honestly, good on them for changing it, because this will lose them some money. Less people will summon on her because of this, but they're still going to make a lot. They're still going to make quite a bit. And the second change is the ordering in which they apply decrease, speed, and restrict. Previously, the way it applied made it so that somebody like ML Tywin would dispel the restrict first and then the speed second. Now with the way it applies, it will dispel the restrict first and the speed second. So this is arguably a buff to her skill set, since a lot of times people will want to get rid of the restrict, but also a lot of times people will want to get rid of the speed. So this is both a buff and a nerf at the same time, depending on who you're really attacking, because a lot of teams don't have that extra CR boost, but also a lot of teams rely on it. So it depends really on who you're facing here. So overall, I think this was a pretty positive choice for them. I think they definitely made the right choice here. And let's read over their reasoning here. So they say, we will first inform our heirs of changes that will be made to Luminous Explosion. Through the use of her new debuff Restrict, Cerise was designed as an effective countermeasure against enemies with skills that can increase combat readiness. However, we have confirmed that after additional decreases to combat readiness were inflicted upon enemy heroes affected with the Restrict debuff, it became very hard for those heroes to have a turn to act. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what her skill set does. That's what happens when you make a character do 19 things in 2 abilities. Of course, a little obvious there. Therefore, we have removed the combat readiness decrease effect on the skill and changed restrict so that heroes who are restricted cannot be affected by further skills that decrease slash increase their CR. The next change that occurred is the order in which debuffs will be applied for the skill Froststorm, which is her skill 3. In the preview video that we released, Froststorm inflicts restrict first, followed by the decreased speed debuff. However, due to this, Cerise was found to be ineffective against enemies which can remove debuffs. Therefore, we have decided to change the order in which these 2 debuffs are applied so that she can be better equipped against enemies with the ability to dispel debuffs. Again, we apologize for any inconvenience that may occur to the differences in our preview videos from the changes listed here. We will continue to try our best in our order to provide a better gaming environment for all of our heirs. So on top of all of this, there is something that's probably the biggest change in all of this, and that is the change to Restrict itself. Restrict previously was assumed or implied or maybe even shown, I don't know which one of those terms is correct, that it would only restrict CR boosts on the enemy. But now it's going to restrict CR decreases as well, which does mean that Restrict is essentially nerfing your own units at the same time. This does feel very weird, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. From a balance perspective, I feel like it's definitely something that makes sense, but from like a gameplay slash lore slash character perspective, flavor perspective, whatever you want to call it, I feel like it's kind of awkward, because you really don't want to end up doing something that hurts your team, right? Because if you restrict, you're not going to be able to do stuff like Lilius. I mean, Lilius will still be good, but you're not going to be able to CR to Cerise. You're not going to be able to Basar them. And again, I guess this does make sense because it would make it just ridiculous. Like, imagine popping off with your... do the kids still say popping off? Imagine popping off with your Cerise here and then following up with like a Dizzy skill 2, lowering their CR by another 50% and stunning them with Abyssal Crown. Like, imagine how horrible that would be, right? So perhaps this was something they absolutely needed to do when there was just so much lockdowning happening. So a little indifferent on that change, but I feel like it's for the betterment of the game again. So that's going to be it here. I just want to say a couple things as we go. Try not to go full rage mode, you know. Try not to be so angry. Try to accept stuff like this, especially things that are designed to be for the betterment of the game. Cerise was obviously ridiculous, and the fault here is on them for releasing her and thinking this might be okay for her being that ridiculous. But it's better to have that happen and then this happen than to have the ridiculous happen and then have them just stay like that, right? So I would much rather have this than any other scenario presented to me. And yeah, that's about it. So if you want to still see previews, if you want to get information from the KR and the NA streams, try not to get too angry, because all that is going to be accomplished by getting into anger and rage mode is going to make them just not give us previews like this until it's in the game. So be really careful about that. And yeah, so let's read some fun comments like we always do. So Guilty Spark says, "We were not even expecting anything, but you still found a way to let us down." Oh lordy. Oh lordy. Good ol' stove. Nice. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always. And if you don't, you're not going to get her until 121. I'm so sorry. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.